What's going on? Welcome to this video. Now, in the last video, I talked about my A plus model, and we kind of compare and contrast it to the inversion fair value gap model. Now, I never said the inversion fair value gap model is terrible, but I do always prefer to look for my A plus model. And unfortunately, this morning we didn't see that set up. So I did take a trade using the inversion fair value gap models. Now, I'm going to go ahead and recap over this trade, why I took it and why I used this model. So let's get right to it. So if you look at my screen, first thing is understanding time and place. That's one thing I always preach about, is time and place, and that's how I get my directional bias into the morning. Now, if you go to the morning session, why do I say time and place? Because this trade that I took was in a lunch hour session, okay? Morning session, we had a dump. So when we have a continuation in the AM session, what I like to wait for during the lunch hour is that engineered liquidity. So if we're running bearish, continuing to run bearish, and we're engineering highs, okay? There's a high, there's a high, there's a high. We're starting to engineer relative equal highs. And then we come back, we take out these lows. And then 11:30 is when the lunch hour starts. So let's go 11:30. So there is where lunch hour starts, 11:30. So right in this time and place is now understanding we're heading into that lunch hour. We've engineered buy-side liquidity, relative equal highs. We had a continuation in the morning session. So what I expect during the lunch hour is for price to then go and hunt those buy stops. So the lunch hour, I'm bullish and I'm looking for buys, hunting those buy stops. So in this case, what was my entry? Like I said, it was an inversion fair value gap. Let's go over why I use this inversion fair value gap as my entry. Because we had this manipulation running lower, it was pretty interesting to see price run lower. Once we trade above that new week opening gap, I was pretty much expecting price to continue to hold there and run to that buy side liquidity, but then we had that manipulation lower. Because we had that manipulation lower, what makes me use my inversion fair value gap? Specifically this one right here. We have all these lows sitting right here, low resistance liquidity run, and I'm gonna go ahead and just annotate those lows, relative equal lows. What I want to see if I'm bullish is when price manipulates and takes out those lows, what I want to see is that insufficiency right there, sell side imbalance, buy side insufficiency. So there's our fair value gap, bearish fair value gap. And now because we've taken those lows and I'm bullish, what I want to see is price now inverse that fair value gap. We have a sweep of lows and then we have a displacement through that fair value gap, which now becomes a inversion fair value gap because we inversed through that bearish fair value gap. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a buy as soon as we close above that. And I have my stops near that low right there. And I'm targeting, what am I targeting? I'm targeting those buy stops. Shabam. And I'm targeting those buy stops, which you can see price then has a really, really nice delivery, buy side delivery to that high where we expect those buy stops sitting at, where we expect those buy stops to be sitting at. Why do I think buy stops are sitting there? Well, first thing is when we have a continuation, right, bearish, the morning session, those sellers are particularly trailing their stops at these highs. So when we see price engineer relative equal highs, those are key areas or key highs that those sellers that are holding are moving their stops, trailing their stops at those highs. And now when we head into that lunch hour, I'm expecting us to hunt those stops. So my entry is using that inversion fair value gap. Once we sweep these lows, I want to see a sweep of lows and then price inverse through that fair value gap. That is going to be my signal to buy and then target that buy side liquidity. Pretty simple strategy, understanding time and place in the lunch hour and using that inversion fair value gap once price manipulates, takes lows to then inverse and continue that buy side delivery.